Hi, this is Congressman Garamendi. Sorry about that 1 week break where I wasn't with you last week. We obviously were not here in Washington, so I missed you. But the good news is no further harm was done by the U.S. Congress because we weren't here. But we're here now, and I got to tell you, the heat is on in Washington. I'm thankful for this breeze that's blowing at the moment, but I tell you, about an hour ago, it was downright hot here, but not nearly as hot as it was over at the White House when they announced a special prosecutor to look into the Russia issue in all of its fullness. It was a crazy, crazy day. News was breaking every 12 hours. You followed all of this, but boy, from our point of view, it was constantly, my God, what's going to happen next? Well, what happened next is that this whole issue of Trump and Russia and Flynn and Kislyak, the ambassador from Russia, and all of those things are now in the hands of a special counsel, otherwise known as a special prosecutor, that has been appointed by the acting deputy director of the Department of Justice. Mr. Rosenstein has done what is right. We now have former FBI Director Mueller with the responsibility of thoroughly investigating what's taken place during the election, with the Russian involvement, with the Trump campaigns involved, was Trump involved, what's going on here? This man, Mueller, can dig deep, and he will. We've got to make sure that he has the resources necessary to do the job. But it's not all that we need to do. We do know that Russia inserted itself into our election process, that the presidential campaigns were influenced by Russia, by the WikiLeaks, by the hacking, all of those things. We need an additional investigation outside of Congress, not political. We have a piece of legislation that we're trying to push through the House that would establish an independent investigatory party made up of 12 people, no politicians, but really the best of America, to look at our process here. How do we protect our vote? How do we protect the American election process from interference from Russia or any other players in the world? That is a political question. Can't be handled by those of us that are in Congress, so we want to get this independent commission out there to look at how to do this. All of the criminal issues will go on. They'll continue on with Mr. Mueller, as they should. What will come of that, I don't know. But I do know this, that I'm really delighted that that's happening. The rest of the story, there's always something more to add. This is Infrastructure Week here in Washington, D.C. I was on the floor for an hour last Tuesday talking about infrastructure. A very, very special piece that I'm working on are the international shipping, the ports, and how we move goods in and out of our ports. Turns out, not much left of the maritime industry in America. We're down to just 80 American flag ships. Introduced two bills, one called Energizing the American Maritime, and that's to make sure that at least 30% of the natural gas that is exported from the United States be on ships that have American mariners. We have another bill, Energizing the American Shipbuilding Industry, so that 30% of that oil and natural gas be on ships built in America. We're talking about make it in America. We're talking about using a strategic national asset that's already being transported around the world, that it be on American-built ships with American sailors. Thousands, perhaps 100,000 jobs in the shipyards, and even more to supply all of the engines and everything else. Infrastructure is critically important, whether it's across the ocean, in the ports, on the rails, on the highways. Mr. Trump, where's your $1 trillion infrastructure bill? We don't see it. We're going to take charge of this ourselves and drive this issue. Hang on. It's crazy time in Washington. I'll have more to talk about next week.